So I am starting to assemble. So what I like to do is get my pages together, and if they're not exactly perfect, all of them, some might be slightly over, it's okay, it's not the end of the world. You can go in and trim them up, or if you can't, you're scared you're gonna mess something up, just leave them as is, and I'll show you what we do. So I like to, do them like you're stacking paper, get mine as close to the edge as possible. And I've been using my clips from Dollar Tree. Now I've started wrapping this with a piece of cardstock around it and then placing my clip on. And the reason for that is these clips left a stain on one of my memo sets, and so I had to remove a sheet. And so I wasn't happy with that at all, because you can always reprint and restack, but that's a lot of extra work. So wrapping the paper around it and adding my clips on. Placement of your clips is up to you. I personally like the sides, and then when I get my glue on, I try to get a clip across the top. These clips come from the Dollar Tree, and they come in sets of 6, I believe. And I'm pretty sure they were in the crafting section. So I have my clips in, and now I'm about to go in with my glue. Originally, I was putting my glue on a little piece of cardstock and going from there, and then I realized it was really just extra work. So I have a little glass of water and a towel, and I just get my brush, dip it in a towel, and I've just been dipping straight into my Mod Podge. I do like using Mod Podge for this, and let's see here. I'm just painting across the top. Now I try to go in gentle with my first coat. I do like using a paintbrush, and I do like using this particular kind of paintbrush, the bristle brush, as opposed to the sponge brush. Now you want to let it get in between the layers. So let it get in there, let it soak in between the layers. That's why I like using this kind of brush, because it lets you get in there. And so you want to let it dry. You don't have to do too much on your first coat. If it gets crazy, you can use your finger, slide it around, clean it up. So that's your first coat. With these clips, I like that you can sit them down and it leaves it raised, so it's not sticking to your desk or surface. I'm doing the same thing with this one. I'm dipping my brush in, just getting some of the excess off, and just going in with my paintbrush. And once these dry, I'll come back and do a second and basically a third coat. Now I will say, if you do a thin layer, it dries quicker. So you don't, some people like to glob it on. It will still dry, it just takes longer to dry. I'd rather do a thin layer and come back a few times. And I've been resting my brush in the water until I'm ready for my next batch. While those are drying, I'm just going to show you my pin wraps. Same thing, you're going through and you're slicing off the excess paper. If you guys have any questions, if I'm missing something, if I'm not explaining too well, just let me know. The pens that I like to use are the Jot pens. You can get these from Dollar Tree or Dollar General. I pop the end off here. And the next part can be a little tricky. Just take your time and kind of slide this around in your hand. And pull, slide and pull, slide and pull. See, it's slowly coming out. You don't have to like go crazy with it. Pop it off. This part's a little more challenging, and I guess everybody probably has their own method, but I try to roll it. Y'all know how I roll. Roll it. I've seen some of y'all's tray videos. I'm joking, guys, but you just roll it around. And then I try to get as much curvature on it as I can, so that I have a nice roll when it goes into the tube. There we go. That's a nice roll. So there you go. Nice little roll. And then you have your tube. And I just wiggle mine around. I will tell you, having a pair of tweezers. I keep tweezers at my desk because I sew, and having a pair of tweezers, like the long nose sewing tweezers, is helpful. If you don't have them, just have something long that you can help guide this into it. You want to be careful because you don't want to rip it. You just want to ease it in there. I also have used that tool to help ease it and guide it in. And if you're having trouble on that end, you can pop the bottom out. If you have something that you can pull down from the other end, that can be helpful too. Now, some people just like to pop the bottoms out while they're working with it to begin with, and they feel like they have more maneuverability on their tube. You see how that did go in a little bit easier. So you can pop the bottom out if you need to. Just screw that back on. Pop that back in. And pop that back on. You have a pen. So this was the first set. And you can move, if you don't want that blue trim on your paper, you can cut that off so it's just white around. You can do whatever you want on your sets. That's mine. That's the one drying for this, and this is already dry enough that I can put on another coat. So you hear my brush in the water, I'm just tapping it off. Tap that off. Moving stuff out the way. Put my Mod Podge back down and get in here with that and make sure I'm on camera. Boop. There we go. So we're just getting in there. And now you can be a little thicker if you'd like. But you want to try and make it as even as possible. So even if you go in and scrape off with the back of your brush like that, if you do that, just move it around, try to get it even. You can even hit the sides, and this is what I was telling you earlier. If for some reason your pages don't sit as evenly as you would like, hit the sides like that. If you get the front, don't worry, just wipe it off. When this dries, it's going to have like a glossy, gummy finish like you see in the store. If you ever paid attention to the notepad sets in the store, they have like that gummy, glossy top. This is it. It's adhesive. So now you're learning how to do it. And so you can let it cool, and then let it rest. That's your next coat. So if you want it a second or a third, that's your second. You could do a third if you want. That's what it looks like when it's dry. So you see, you don't see it. Sorry guys, I've been running from room to room and hot and cold. And so there you go. Another coat here. And you can get the ends here. Now when you're getting your ends, if you've used a sheet of paper or cardstock or something to hold it in place, make sure you don't glue it to your cardstock. If you need to move your cardstock down, you have some maneuverability to do that now because you've already gone in with your first coat. You can slide it down, put that back on, because it's just holding your pages in place. And then if you need to hit those corners, you got some room to get your corners. And some people kind of go way down on their corners. I don't. I just, when I do them, because I don't always do them, but when I do, I just stay up in the top edge. And the reason for this is if all your pages aren't even, and if you didn't get it evenly across the top, when people go to rip it off, it doesn't let all their pages come off at one time. So that's the reason to do that. Now my pages are still drying, so this is what I was telling you. Because of the way I printed it with the pin wrap on each one, I now have 9 more pin wraps out of this that I can use. Again, if you don't have a paper cutter, if you have a steady hand, you can go on with your hand and cut it. So you don't have to feel like you have to have all this equipment. Truthfully, you have a printer, some glue. You don't even have to use Mod Podge. That's my preference. I'm using Mod Podge Gloss today, but I have used the other version as well. But you can do this with paper, scissors, and a pen. So if you have a printer with colored ink, you don't even have to use colored ink. If you did a picture that was black and white, you could do that. Personalize it with the person's name. Get you a pack of pens from Dollar Tree. And you can make a nice set for somebody. So I'm going to roll this last pen up. I'm going to wait for these to dry, and then I'm going to do my last set, and I am done. Dun, 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 dun. I'm so happy because I've been working like every day doing different things. Finished up my shirts last night for myself. And I think that is it. So I'm happy. I'm excited. I hope you all have a wonderful Christmas. If you don't celebrate Christmas, happy holidays. If you celebrate another holiday, if you're not celebrating anything, just enjoy life. Celebrate life. So I'm just stuffing that in there. And again, if you want to take it totally apart, you can. The tighter you roll it in the beginning, the easier it is to get into the tube. And if you run into a snag, pull out your tools and let them help you. twist it around, you get it down in there. Just push it down. Pop your top back on. Insert back in. Pin top back on. Not bad, right? So this is the one we were working on just now. It's fairly dry. You see it's a little wetness on my finger as I'm going. So let it dry some more. That still has some drying to do. A little wetness on my finger. So let that dry some more. And then when it's done drying, take your clips off. And there you go. And my stomach is telling me to move on with my life and go get something to eat. So there you go, guys. I hope this helps somebody. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. You guys have a great day.